Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kai, and welcome back to Warframe. Today, we will be taking a look at Harrow, specifically Harrow Prime, as you can see here. Now, Harrow is widely considered as the crit Warframe. So, any weapons you have, he will be buffing the absolutely ever-living hell out of them, making them deal absurd amounts of crit, which means more damage. So, let's go hop into the sim, and we can go over his abilities so I can show you why. Here we are in the sim, so now let's go over Harrow's abilities. We're just going to be going over the abilities right here because Harrow's actual ability screen hits us with that rap tap tap from the Chains of Harrow quests, so a little annoying to record over. But anyways, Harrow's first ability is Condemn. We're just going to be going over the abilities right here because Harrow's actual ability screen hits us with that rap tap tap from the Chains of Harrow quests, so a little annoying to record over. But anyways, Harrow's first ability is Condemn. On cast of Condemn, Harrow will do a short animation where he throws a ball of chains that will, as you can see here, chain up enemies. Now, this is a bit of a different chain from the normal type, as in most CC either ragdolls enemies or it like makes them cover their faces. This does not, which means that it's really easy to get headshots against enemies when you've hit them with Condemn, which is great because Harrow loves headshots. If you look into the top right, you'll also see that I have 3,000 overshields. Harrow has double the normal overshield capacity, and chaining enemies with Condemn gives you overshields. The amount that you get scales off of strength. The more strength you have, the more overshields you'll get with each enemy chained. Harrow's second ability is Penance. Now, Penance does a couple things for Harrow. On first cast, Harrow will slap himself twice with his Thurible, and you will lose all of your overshields. Now, the amount of duration that you get scales off of how much overshields you have. So, if you hit a bunch of enemies with your chains and then cast Penance, you will get a lot more duration. This ability buffs your fire rate and your reload speed, like dramatically, and it scales off of strength. When you cast Penance too, you will at first heal yourself for 50% of your health if you have, taken health damage, and then you get lifesteal when enemies fire at you. This also heals allies that are within affinity range, so just be aware of that. Harrow's third ability, Thurible, is his energy generation ability. Now, this one is pretty crazy. So, if you cast Thurible, you will start swinging it around. You will get a meter to the right of Harrow that shows you how much energy you will be getting per kill. As you can see right there, I charged it up and I got 41 energy per kill. In the top right, it will show you how much, 41.8 to be exact. So now, if I come over to these enemies and kill them, you'll see that, well, I got 167.3 energy right there. But that's because you get quadruple the amount of energy that you generate from Thurible if you get a headshot kill. Just getting a body shot kill will give me 41. But if I do get another headshot kill, I get 167.3. This is infinite energy for Harrow, because as long as you are killing enemies, you will never run out. So even with negative efficiency builds like the one I'll be showing you, it doesn't matter, because I can kill a single enemy with a headshot and get almost my entire energy bar back. A single enemy. Thurible also grants nearby allies the energy that you generate when you get kills. As you can see, that little hazy mist around me, if allies are within range as I'm getting kills with Thurible, they will get the same amount of energy that I do, which makes Harrow a really great support. Harrow does need to be the one to get these kills, though, so you can't run with a nuke frame like Saren or Equinox and have them infinitely generate energy for themselves as long as they're getting kills. Harrow himself has to get the kills to generate the energy, which doesn't synergize well with some nuke frames, but it is still an option that is beneficial to your team. Harrow's fourth and final ability is Covenant. Now, Covenant is the big critical damage ability that Harrow is so well known for. So, on first cast of Covenant, you do a pretty long animation. When you do this animation, you will grant yourself and all allies within affinity range. This does not scale off range, it just scales off affinity range and the Vazarin passive that affects that. But regardless, you gain invulnerability for however long your duration is. As you can see here, it was about 15 seconds, I think. After that, you gain a critical chance buff that is quadrupled on headshots. So, this is great. How you gain that critical chance buff is taking damage. As you take more damage, the critical chance buff will get higher at a cap of 50% and 200% on headshots because the 50 gets multiplied by 4. This makes Harrow a great frame for those weapons that do a lot of damage with low crit chance because it is flat crit, which means that it is just adding 200 like crit to your weapons. As you can see here, my Scourge Prime is modded with critical delay. This gives plus 200% critical chance and brings us to 30%. With the inclusion of Galvanized Scope, this goes up a little bit higher to around 70 something, but you get another flat 200 on headshot with Harrow's 4th ability. So this becomes like almost 300% critical chance, which is kind of guaranteed reds. So I'll demonstrate on these enemies. I will unpause, but just turn its ability on. Do the cast. As you can see, we are invulnerable to status effects and damage right now, which is great. You don't need to take that much damage to get the 200% critical chance buff. Like, only 1,000 should do it, so way more than these enemies will be able to do to you. But when this runs out, we gain that crit buff, and now, guaranteed red, as you saw right there, and I haven't even gotten my galvanized stacks up. If we do that, you'll see that it turns the Scourge Prime into an absolute monster capable of one-shotting these gunners. If you pair this with the fact that Harrow can also give himself infinite shield gate with Condemn, fire rate, and reload speed with Condemn as well. I meant shield gate with the... what is that ability called? I'm forgetting. I was right. Infinite shield gate with Condemn, and then fire rate and reload speed with Penance, and infinite energy with Thurible. You get one of the best weapons platform frames in the entire game. But we've gone over all of his abilities now, so why don't we go take a look at the build. Okay, so as you can clearly see from first peek, Harrow loves duration and really likes strength, while range is not a super important stat because it only affects Condemn, and efficiency is entirely negated by the fact that you can get 150 energy from a single headshot kill with Thurible at this current level. But looking at the actual build, I have corrosive projection in my aura. This is because I haven't like reformatted this or whatever. Other auras that work great here actually are things like growing power for more strength. This isn't really needed, but it just is a Naramon polarity aura that I have and I use. So moving on, duration. We have continuity and narrow-minded. These two together give 251 duration, which makes the invulnerability on Covenant lasts 15 seconds, and the crit chance buff lasts 30 seconds. That's a long time. It also makes Thurible and Penance last really long. Even though Penance scales off of how much shields you have, it still lasts about 2 times longer just with this 251, and Thurible lasts 87 seconds, so you don't need to be doing this super long cast animation all the time. And Condemn does last about 11 seconds longer, but this isn't really that important since you're mainly using Condemn, a little bit for crowd control, but mostly for the shield game. Strength is also huge on Harrow because it affects all of his abilities. So you get more shield per hit here. 417 shield per enemy is really nice because you can chain under 10 enemies and hit the max cap of 3,000, or you can just throw 2 of them out and hit it really easily. But in things like the Steel Path, you're going to be hitting the 3,000 cast cap at a single cast of Condemn. Penance gives you more lifesteal, more fire rate, and more reload speed. As you can see here, almost 100% fire rate and 200% reload speed is really good. Thurible gives you more energy conversion based on your strength, so you get more energy per second, which is great, hitting us about that 50 cap. And then Covenant gives you a higher crit damage multiplier with more strength, which is phenomenal because, you know, you want to get as much crit as possible. This does have a cap at 200% on headshots, 50% for body shots, so it's not like you can scale this infinitely, but it is still really good to have a lot of strength for the rest of his abilities, and more strength always helps here. Now, efficiency is at 45 again because we have infinite casts with Thurible being up, and range at 79. The only ability that is really affected by range here is his Condemn at 15.8 meters of range at 79. How do you want to get around this? Because you don't. This has 20 meters of base range. That's pretty good. We don't need to build for range here because it affects nothing else here because these are all affinity range. So how do we want to get this back up to base? I recommend you just use Cunning Drift in your aura slot. You could throw a Forma on one more ability here. This is a single Forma build, and be able to fit it into your aura, which would slot nicely, bringing you up to 94 range, which is only like 2 meters under the base for Condemn. Our Arcanes, on the other hand, right now I just have Vault Augmented and Multi-Efficiency. Multi-Efficiency, you gain 36 ability duration while shields are active. It is really easy to have shields active as you have Condemn, which can cap your shields in a single cast. And I forgot to mention that the amount of duration you get from your shields is completely based off how much strength you have. So the more strength, the more duration you get from your shield conversion from Condemn to Penance. So this is great. More duration, always great on Harrow. Multi-augmented, 60% more ability strength at max rank, mine is not. Helps all of these abilities. Different things you can do. You don't really need things like Arcane Acceleration because they're not, like, you're already getting so much fire rate from Condemn. You don't need Energize, so you can run Arcane Rage, Precision, all these things that buff your damage or whatever. Arcane Avenger for even more crit, which would be nice. All of those are a possibility. Now, as you can see, I have a single Amber Archon shard in Harrow. This is just because the cast on Thurible is pretty long, so this helps speed that up. If you are annoyed by the casting times, drop Augur Message and run Natural Talent. This will considerably speed up the casting times and make it a lot more bearable. Rest of our weapons are kind of use whatever here. I use the Scourge Prime because it's Harrow's signature, and with the crit chance buff that he grants, you get like really, really high reds. It's also just a fun weapon because spear guns are cool, but you can kind of use whatever here. Harrow will make all guns good. Focus School, I use Madurai. Extra casting speed and more strength is nice because you just do the little Void Sling for more strength before you cast all your abilities, and they last so long that you don't need to worry about doing that often. Now, for companions. A companion that I recommend for Harrow is the Adarza Kavat because it has the buff Cat's Eye. This grants you 60% more flat crit, so you get even more crit with the Adarza. The Panzervolpaphyla also works well. Feel free to use this if you want. This is more comfy because it can't die, so you won't lose your vacuum, while the Adarza needs to have some higher ranked mods, and I really haven't put too much in companions besides my Volpaphyla. But yeah, Adarza is great, but Volpaphyla for comfortability if that's your go. Now that everything is all said and done, let's go hop into the Steel Path, and as you can see here, I'm actually going to use the Amprex for this. The Amprex is an old, really, really good meta weapon that is phenomenal with Harrow. I actually will go over a couple other suggestions. The Kuva Chakor is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful on Harrow. You can pretty much one-tap kind of anything in the game. The Nadaruk is really good. The Sado is great because crit damage buffs the hell out of its glaive and its fire in general. Seriously, like, all good weapons in this game are built for crit, and Harrow just gives more of that. So, like, he's really, really good. But I'm going to use the Amprex because it's kind of a joke with Harrow, how good it is, bringing it back to its old status of just being absolutely wild. But I'll see you there in the Steel Path. Here we are in the Steel Path on the Void, my favorite testing spot, as you all know. I'm just going to get this started real quick. Now, before these enemies get in here, I'm going to just get myself some extra strength. Cast Thurible. This is great to cast while invis. Boom, that drained real quick, but once we build this up, might take a little bit. This is a corrosive build with Galvanize after all, and boom. Now I'm just going to get myself that crit buff and kill me some more enemies while this is invulnerable. Hold this, boom, more of that, and now just going to kind of just like meme on all these enemies. If you lose your shields, just cast Condemn because you get your entire shield gate back. And oh, how beautiful are all those reds, huh? I mean, it's pretty funny. Now, that was fine and perfectly doable, but if we do a little bit of a swap out for something a little more powerful, you'll see why Harrow is really, really strong. Thanks, Ortis. I really gotta mute him again. So, doing this again with a considerably stronger gun. Almost died there, but let's get this up. Thanks, Nora. And, you know, start charging things up. I'll get all my shields up. Get a kill. Chain up some more enemies. And you know what? Yeah, this is pretty strong. Obviously, having some more range would make this a little more comfy because it would make it so that we chain up a lot more enemies with our Condemn. Like, you know, we're already hitting some ridiculous numbers here. You just need those tighter groups of enemies to fully kind of reset that shield gate. But just use Rolling Guard and then, you know, you get your invulnerability, which is fine. Cast Covenant again. It doesn't last super long, so you do get those 15 seconds of pure invulnerability a lot. And yeah, like, he just kind of sustains himself and just buffs the ever-living shit out of your guns. I mean, holy hell. Talk about a weapons platform. You know, there's a lot of things that are necessary on the steel path. Not a lot that are necessary to survive on the steel path, but oh my god. If Harrow ain't just one of the best at doing that. Kind of funny. Let's get our Thurible back up so we can get that energy regen. 2 enemies. Boom. Max energy. Oh. Lost our shields there. Just roll with your Rolling Guard and yeah, like, cast this again. Y'all can see how strong this is. Like, seriously. I don't even really need to do much anymore. Alright, I think that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one and found a useful build for Harrow in it, since that is my goal, to make things that you guys can go replicate and use in any piece of content and have success with. Harrow is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful frame. One of my coolest, one of my favorites looking fashion-wise too. I kind of redid it mid-video if you saw. And I'm really liking this white and black look. But anyways, again, thank you so much for watching. I'm continuing to enjoy making content for you guys, so expect more in the future as always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.